Hello everybody, today I want to show you how to make this basic little cabochon pendant, how to capture a undrilled stone or a cabochon in wire in this basic design that doesn't involve weaving, but I tried to kind of spruce it up a little bit and give it all those little swirly decorations up top. And here is what the back of it looks like. So if you want to see how to do this design, then just keep watching. So the first thing you need are 3 pieces of 21 or 20 gauge wire. I'm using 21 gauge square dead soft copper wire. Now you can use round as well. And because my stone is quite little, 21 gauge works fine. If your stone is bigger, or like if it's really thick, you might want to use either 20 gauge, or if your stone is thick, maybe use 4 wires instead of 3. So this is about 7 inches because, again, my stone is quite little. Here's the stone compared to the wire. And I basically, if you bend this like around, here I'll just do it on camera and then I'll unbend it. What you want to do is you want to bend it around your stone, and then after it comes to the top of the stone, like the wire is going to go all the way around the sides, and then you want to have just a nice bit left. Like maybe take, imagine you're going to have a bale made with these wires, so that's how I like to do it. I like it to be at least another 2 times this length. So now I'm going to unbend it. So this right here is our middle. And if you are using square wire like I am, you want to just kind of line it up nicely, because square wire can kind of get a little twisted. It has like a flat side and then it's got the angles. So I'm using also, and these are all from Rio Grande, half round 22 gauge wire, dead soft copper, always dead soft copper that I tend to use. So I'm going to take this wire, and because it's half round, it has a rounded side and a flatter side. I don't know how well you can tell, but you always want to put the flat side down and the round side up. So I'm just going to wrap around, and once you make a wrap, you can take your pliers and you can flatten it. So it'll look like this. And once you do that, it'll stay on a little better. So what you can do is you can actually take the base wires and you can turn them, and your half round wire will kind of wrap itself around. I find that to be a little easier than trying to wrap the half round wire. Easier in terms of it not getting twisted up. So I'm just going to do that. It's up to you. This is basically going to be on the very bottom part of your stone. Now if you want it to be kind of discreet, you might not want to do a lot of wraps. If you want that to be, part of your design, you can do more. But it'll be visible from the side like this after we get these wires going around our stone. I do think it's a little easier if you secure it well though, so I wouldn't do just like 2 or 3 wraps. I would try and do a little more. So I cut the wire, and I'm just kind of squishing this down, get it nice and flat, and I'm going to cut. Make sure the little ends that you cut are both on the same side. So see my little end here? So this end will be on this side as well, because you don't want it to poke out. So this will be my inside part that is touching the stone. and I'm kind of hiding the ends in there. So here's what it looks like from the inside. This will be from the edge of it. This will be the bottom. Alright, so now what you want to do is you want to bend a little bit to make kind of a rounded shape like the bottom of your stone. And my stone's going to be positioned like this. This will be the bottom, this will be the top. If you're going to do it the other way, make a sharper bend. I find like this is the easiest shape to work with and the easiest way to position it. So I'm going to position the stone in there like this. Then I'm going to hold it with my fingers and I'm going to bend the other wires with my other fingers, just like that, until they come to a point, just like this. So I find that part is just easier to do having it flat on the table rather than, you know, trying to do it in the air. And you will see that this is not lined up perfectly. See how this is a little bit more to the side. There's a little bit more space here. And by the way, you can use your pliers to make this little bend a little sharper. And make sure your base wires are lined up, like they're not twisted like the front wires in the front. They don't crisscross each other. So you can make a little bend. So it's kind of a sharper bend. So now, if this ends up being not perfectly centered, which, I mean, it's hard to get it perfectly centered, you can just move it down. You can use your nails or your pliers. And if you're finding it really hard to move it down, what you could always do is the side that's longer, you can just unravel this wire and just cut it off, so shorten it, in other words, from one side if it's not moving for you at all. Okay. I'm just going to check mine. So I think that's better now. That looks more centered. Alright, so I'm going to take my stone out. What I'm going to do is just bend this a little bit. Try and get this a little bit of a sharper angle. There we go. Now I'm going to take my half round wire, and again, flat side down, put it right here, wrap it around everything. Make sure everything is lined up nicely. You have all 3 wires lined up nicely, both sides. Nothing is crossing over each other. And if it is, obviously, you know, adjust it. So I'm just going to do that one more time. So 3 wraps, just like that. And now I'm going to take the 2 outer wires, so the first and the second wire, and I'm going to bend them down on both sides. So what is left now, still sticking up, are the back 2 wires. So what you want to do, so we're flipping it to the back, and we're going to line these wires up so they're close to each other, right next to each other, and we're going to continue wrapping, but instead of wrapping around everything, we're just going to wrap around the very back 2. And this is going to be our bale. Now if you want, you can use a different wire and make some kind of weaving pattern. If you want to end your half round wire and start some kind of weaving pattern around your bale, you can do that. You cannot wrap around it all the way like I'm going to do. You can kind of leave those wires more bare. That's always an option for a really, really quick and simple pendant. But I don't think that it takes that much more time, and I think it's nice to connect these two wires. So I like to do this for the bale. So I'm just going to wrap around and around and around. And you will want to use your pliers every once in a while to just kind of flatten that down like that. And make sure that if they get spaced out, you push them together so there isn't big gaps, because when you shape your bale, little gaps might form, and if you already have gaps there, it's going to be that much bigger. Alright, so I think I'm ready to be done. And what I'm going to do, so this is my front, this is my back. So I'm going to cut this wire and leave just a tiny piece so that when I pinch it down, so let me just flatten everything first. Flatten all of these first. Okay, make sure there's no gaps. Now, the way that I cut my wire is that this little end, when I pinch it down, it will be here in the back, the end of it, okay? Not in the front, so that you don't see it. It is hidden. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab this like this with my pliers. I'm going to make a little bend just like this. And now, using my finger to give it that nice rounded shape, I am just going to shape my bale, just like that. Now, here's what I'm going to do, this wire here. I grab this wire, which is the very beginning tail of our wire, and I'm going to unravel it just the tiniest bit. So now we have 2 little wraps in the front instead of the 3. And what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to capture these back wires here of our bale. So instead of going, around this way, I'm going to go around them to connect, close up that bale and connect it. So now I'm going to put that 3rd little wrap back. See, there's 3 wraps again, but this time it's capturing my bale. So my bale is captured, and now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to wrap it just a few times around these wires here. Just literally like 2 times. And then I'm going to cut the little end off again so that when I pinch it down, it's underneath rather than on top, so that it can't poke you and it's just hidden in there like that. So here's what the back looks like, the side, and the front. So now we can go ahead and put our stone in. So what you want to do is on the back, alright, so I'm going to push it nicely so that my wires are right on the edge, like this. If my stone was any thicker, I really would have needed to use more wires. This is already borderline too thin. My stone is a little thick here. So what you want to do is you want to grab this wire here that's kind of in the back, and then you want to take your pliers, I'm just going to move these wires up like this just so you can see the back of my stone and they're not in the way. So get that back wire, get it separated from the other wires, and bend it with your pliers. Now you can try to do a specific shape, or you can just bend it to keep that back in place and keep the stone from popping out the back. And we're going to do the same exact thing on the other side, like this. Okay, now the stone cannot fall through the back. Now, but it can fall through the front. And if it does, just put it back. Put it back in there. Now we're going to get the front wire. So just grab it with your nail or your pliers and just separate it from the other wire so you have easy access to it. So if you grab it with your pliers, you're not accidentally going to grab both of those wires. So you can see it here. Now this part is up to you. You basically have to make some sort of bend. It could be here in the middle, it could be here towards the bottom, or actually you can even not even make a sharp bend. You can just do what I pretty much did and leave it like this. Just leave it like this where the stone is being held in. It can't pop out the front because this wire is going up on the stone here and preventing it from coming out. So however you want to do this, it's your, artistic choice. But I'm just going to grab it here with my pliers, just the very end, bottom end of it, just like this, and turn, make a little bend, just like that. And then here on the other side, same exact thing, little bend, 2 little bends. And now I'm just going to open this up a tiny bit, just like that. So this is going to hold my stone in place. You want to make sure that this goes up onto the stone enough so if I push it from the back, it's not going to pop out here. Now, because this is a teardrop shape and it has this little point, it can definitely pop up the top here. So if you are going to use these wires across here to secure the stone, then that'll be fine. But if you're not, if whatever you choose to do with these wires is just, I don't know, make little loops, or just you can just cut them really short and tuck them for a really plain look, you can do that as well. But then your stone might pop out the top. So what you would do if you're going to do something like that, is you would grab your wire up here, just the very top wire, not all of the wires, and bend it onto the stone. Let me move these out of the way so you can see. So grab it and bend it onto the stone, like that. So now the stone is not going to pop out the top or bottom. And you basically have these 2 wires on each side. Let me fix my bale, I got a little twisted. And these 2 wires in the back to work with now to finalize your design. You can put little beads on them, you can have it go, just like all the way down and around, or you can just make them really small, make just like a little loop, whatever it is that you want to do. Another cool thing to do with these is to grab them with your pliers, and if you use square wire like me, you can twist, and square wire gets all pretty and twisty like that. So you can do that for an added effect. So let me think of what I want to do here. So what I'm going to do, I'll do this side first. I'm going to make a little loop like this. Just going to have it go like that. And now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to grab one of these 2 wires, the one that is closer to this side, and I'm going to, let me use my pliers here, bring it this way, just like that. And around, I'm going to make a little loop with it, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to use my pliers to close that little loop up, like that. Okay, so let's just move this out of the way. So here's what it looks like from the back. And here's what it looks like from the front. So then here in the front, I have 1 wire and 2 wires. I'm going to cut them. I'm going to cut this one. And then I'm going to, where's my round nose pliers? I'm going to use my round nose pliers and make a little loop with it. Like that. And then this twisty wire, I'm going to make it go up, 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 up. And I'm going to cut it and leave myself just a little bit of room there to make another loop. Then I'm just going to grab that little end and I'm going to make another loop. Let me see. There we go. Just like that. 2 little loops. And now I have these 2. So I am going to twist this one as well, because that's always fun to do. Love twisting square wire. Alright, let's see. Let's see what we can do with this. I'm gonna make it go up and around. Like that. And now I'm going to bend it to the back. And I'm going to cut it. I'm going to give myself just enough room so that I can make a little loop and kind of tuck that back here. So see our little wire ends here? So I'm going to take them and I'm going to bend the end of them towards this so that the end of them doesn't stick up, and then I'm going to kind of close up that loop. See that? Now the loop is closed so you can't feel it, and it's been secured. And this little wire here, you can just cut it and make a tiny loop with it, or you can use it as a design element. It's up to you. I'm probably just going to cut it. But first, I want these to just be ever so slightly more this way. I'm just going to take my pliers and try to move it a little bit. Let's see. Alright, I guess that's better. So now, I'm going to cut this short, and I'm going to take my round nose pliers and make a little tiny loop. So this way no sharp end is visible. And that is it. That is my little pendant. Basic kind of pendant design, not any weaving really involved. Unless you count just the wrapping here. That's not really weaving. But you could do some weaving up there if you wanted to. It's up to you. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.